Let us begin by dismantling the most exhausting illusion you carry, the belief that your worth must be earned, negotiated, or proven to be true. If you are here, you are already weary. You have likely spent your life building a structure of value on a foundation that collapses at the slightest tremor. You are a high achiever, a kind soul, a deep thinker, and yet every morning you have to wake up and rebuild your sense of value from scratch. This relentless cycle is rooted in our culture as fatal flaw. It mistakes transactional worth for the spiritual truth of value. Transactional worth is the exhausting system of I am valuable if ... It is a temporary, conditional, and ultimately unstable tower built on performance and external approval. Inherent worth, however, is the sacred, unchangeable, non-negotiable truth of your being. It is the deep, luminous bedrock that exists regardless of your performance, success, or mood. The only reason you feel so exhausted is that you've been attempting to live an infinite life on a finite conditional currency. Today, we're shifting the currency. We are tearing down the transactional tower and finally resting on the solid ground of the spiritual truth. The exhaustion you feel is not a sign of brokenness. It is perfect, honest feedback that the system you're using is unsustainable. It's time to choose the truth that was always yours. Let's look at the structure that has held you hostage. Transactional worth operates under a simple, insidious contract. Value is a response to effort, not a recognition of being. This contract was often signed in childhood. We were praised for the outcome of our efforts, the A on a test, winning the game, being helpful. But we were rarely mirrored for the simple fact of our existence, the quiet, unconditional presence of just being seen. This established a worth ledger in your psyche. Every action, every relationship, every failure is immediately entered as a debit or a credit. The ledger's rule is simple. A credit comes from achievement, pleasing others, and high performance, giving you a temporary feeling of value. A debit comes from failure, rest, saying no, or receiving help, triggering immediate anxiety and a perceived loss of value. This creates a state of perpetual debt. You must always do more just to break even. The exhaustion is built right into the accounting. From a psychological perspective, transactional worth is fueled entirely by fear. It's a defense mechanism against the deepest human terror, abandonment and invisibility. When your worth is transactional, the moment your performance drops, your nervous system registers a survival threat. The logic is, if my value is 0, I will be cast out and I will perish. This fear creates the high-functioning anxiety you know so well. Your daily striving is an ambition. It's an anxiety-driven race to prove your right to exist. You can't rest because rest means stopping production, which means the worth ledger is running a debit, which triggers panic. You can't receive because receiving implies a state of need, which feels like a weakness that might be judged and reduce your score on the ledger. You constantly self-correct, perpetually scanning the environment for the next necessary action to maintain your current balance of worth. From a spiritual perspective, the concept of transactional worth is a profound distortion of reality. It violates a spiritual law similar to the law of conservation. Transactional worth attempts to make finite human action your daily energy, time, and effort equal to the infinite value of your soul. Your essence. This is impossible. The soul is not a commodity that can be incrementally built or purchased with effort. It is a spiritual constant. When you try to feed the infinite with the finite, you run into an inevitable energy drain. You deplete yourself completely because the demand is infinite and your energy supply is finite. This system is designed for collapse because the human body is designed to fail, rest, and make mistakes. When your finite tool fails, the entire spiritual foundation collapses because you mistakenly thought your worth was tied to that tool. It's a delusion of control. It gives you the illusion that you can control your intrinsic value. creating enormous internal pressure that only breeds resentment toward yourself and life. Transactional worth is not a path to value. It is a spiritual delusion that ensures perpetual exhaustion and emptiness. It is time to turn away from the ledger forever. The pivot from transactional to inherent worth is a spiritual revelation. It is the realization that worth is not a status to be achieved. It is a spiritual constant to be recognized. Inherent worth is the divine fact of your existence. It is the light you possessed before you took your first breath, and it is the light that will remain when you take your last. It is uncreated and uncreatable. Think of it like gravity. Gravity doesn't care if you are successful or failing. It doesn't ask you to prove your mass. It is a universal, non-negotiable law. Inherent worth is your spiritual gravity. It holds you in place. It sustains you. It is simply true because you exist. You cannot lose it, and you cannot increase it. Inherent worth adheres to 3 sacred, unyielding laws that shatter the conditional contract. First, worth is eternal, not temporary. The transactional view says worth is tied to a fleeting season of your life, like youth or success. The inherent view knows your value exists across all lifetimes and all moments. A momentary failure is merely a drop of rain on a boundless ocean. It is an insignificant condition that cannot affect the infinite volume of your value. Second, worth is non-conditional, not negotiable. The transactional view says worth is negotiated based on external opinion. The inherent view says your value requires 0 conditions. The spiritual truth is that you are worthy in your highest success and in your deepest despair. You are worthy when you are performing and when you are resting. The concept of negotiation is rendered meaningless because the value is already set at the maximum. And third, worth is sacred, not secular. The transactional view treats worth as a human resource managed by ego and effort. The inherent view knows your value is sacred because it comes directly from the source of creation. It is a reflection of the divine within you. To dishonor your inherent worth is not just self-sabotage, it is a spiritual error. You are denying the sanctity of your own creation. The revelation of inherent worth is the only thing that can finally heal your nervous system. When the mind internalizes that worth is inherent, the body receives a profound signal. The threat is gone. Stillness becomes safe because your value is eternal. You can finally stop striving and producing. Rest is no longer a debit. It is a maintenance period. Receiving becomes easy. Accepting love or help is no longer a risk. It is simply an affirmation of the truth you already hold. You receive not because you need to fill a void, but because you are recognizing your own fullness, and failure becomes information. A mistake is no longer a collapse of your identity. It is simply neutral data on how to proceed next. The stakes are lowered from existential to practical. This doesn't mean you stop striving or achieving. It means the energy of your action shifts. Transactional energy is driven by lack. I must do this to become worthy. Inherent energy is driven by expression. I do this because I am already worthy. Your beautiful work, your kindness, your success, these are the expressions of your luminous inherent value. The goal is no longer to create the sun, which is impossible, but to simply let its light shine through your unique being. My love, we have made the essential spiritual pivot. You are free from the exhausting illusion of transactional worth. The fatigue you carried was not due to a lack of effort. It was due to a failure of architecture. You now know that transactional worth is the lie of earning, built on finite fear, while inherent worth is the spiritual truth, built on eternal fact. The shift is not about doing more, but about accessing the truth already deep within. You are not required to justify your existence. You are only required to recognize it. The peace you are searching for is simply the natural state that arrives when you finally retire the worth ledger. This transmission gave you the spiritual definition of your value. But now, We must learn how to keep this truth anchored. How do you maintain this inherent perspective when you face failure, criticism, or the chaos of daily life? If you are ready to move from the theory of inherent worth to the unshakable reality of it, I invite you to subscribe to the channel right now. Join our awakening energy and unlock the next transmission. For my most intimate teachings, exclusive content, and access to the sacred practices we discussed, I invite you to join my private newsletter. The link is in the description below. You are so welcomed here. You are safe. You are found. Your remembrance has only just begun. I will see you in the next transmission.